Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Shakey's Sports Journeys. Today I'm joined by a very different kind of guest. Today we have sportsperson meets musician. I welcome to the show my lovely wife, Kaya Letska. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. First time we are taking the plunge of recording on a live set. So what we've done is we've changed the setting of my lovely mother-in-law's back garden stroke porch, and I hope it looks good. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk through your life story to date. And what I want to start by doing is you're born in lovely Poland. Tell me about your childhood, your family background, what it was like growing up in Poland.
Well, to be completely honest, Poland is not it's not exactly the land of opportunity. When I was born, that's where Poland just came out of the, you know, basically being part of Russia. So we only just started growing as a country. So for me to kind of chase my dreams, it was quite hard. Uh, you wouldn't see many people you wouldn't see many parents encourage their kids to do things like music or acting or anything like that. I was always told that I should be a doctor or a lawyer. So it was but I was really strong-willed, so I just kept doing what I wanted to do, and no one could ever tell me. There's no one could ever tell me you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah, I know. I can vouch for that because I'm married. I'm married to you, and yeah, you're a strong-willed woman. You don't take no for an answer. But I like that about you. I like that you want something and you go for it. Why is Poland not the land of opportunity? Is that because the older generation just don't believe that there's potential to go into music and other areas like that?
It's actually quite. It's just because of what happened during the World War II. I think we are only a growing country. We are the developing country. We are not there yet. We're still developing, and we continue going into the right direction. But it's gonna take some time before we actually are able to to say, oh, we've got all these amazing opportunities in our country. You know, there's, I think right now, there is still room for improvement, but it's the same in any other country. But we are definitely getting there. We're definitely getting there, and I think me moving to Scotland was a big decision for me because I'm really attached to my family. Like, I'm really close to my family, and I'm really protective over them, and all these kind of things. But I did, like, for myself. I knew that I had to go abroad to be able to do what I want to do. For example, let's just give you an example. If I wanted to do what I wanted to do, like, for example, if I wanted to be a singer here and professionally, like, get an education towards that, it would take me 6 years first here in this country, and then on top of that doing another 4 or 6 years of uni. Whereas if I was like going to UK, I did all that in 5 years. So
Why is that the case? Why is it such a long process?
It's just a different educational system. You to be able to go to like such a specific course at uni in Poland, you have to finish, or preferably you would have to finish the like a national, I think it's how we translate that, it's National School of Music, which is basically for kids, and but I wouldn't be able to do like entertainment singing. I would have to do like opera singing, or play viola, or things like that. You're not actually, you don't do like just a normal singing like that the way I do, so it was quite tricky, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. Like, what am I doing here? I did go to that school, but I was like, this is not for me.
So what age were you when you went to that school?
I was in I was maybe like 12.
Okay. From what I've seen of let's talk about your family background before we get to the exciting stuff of you taking the big plunge and moving. You've got a lovely mum, lovely dad, two brothers, Bogosh and Arthur, both of whom have also taken the plunge and live over in Scotland and work over there. What were your memories like of growing up? Did you have a good, healthy family environment?
Oh yes, yeah, we were, I love my childhood. See, the house that we're in right now was like, this is where all my memories are from, pretty much. This is where my granny lived, and she was like a big factor in like a lot of my childhood. She was a great woman, and I always looked up to her. So yeah, it was a great childhood. And I'm not saying that I was like, I was unhappy because I wasn't allowed to do whatever I wanted to do. My mom would still let me do what I wanted, but she would try to like kind of discourage me, which in some ways could be
I think
worse.
I think it happens a lot of times in a lot of families. It's not out of badness; it's more out of worrying about your future.
Which I think it can be more. It could be worse, because like if someone is doing that to you over like a longer period of time, your will can be like really bad. Like you and I guess I see that in my brothers a little bit. I don't know why, I just kind of didn't turn out like this, but both of my brothers can be like, they don't have that strong will as I do. I'm not saying anything bad about my brothers.
No, we're not talking. Just meaning, they're very hard work. I mean, from what I've seen of both your brothers, they're very, very hard working.
Yeah, no, they are.
But you mean maybe they would refrain from going for something because they might think it's better to be safe and to be having the income, whereas you had the mindset that, look, I come from a sporting background, so I know where you're coming from, where it's a big risk. There's no guarantees. I set out to be a professional cricketer. I played good cricket, but my mum always drilled into me that get your education, and I probably didn't listen as much because I was just solely on the path of becoming a cricketer. So I'd imagine yours is probably quite similar. But you, in time, I mean, so music-wise, when did you start singing?
When I was 5 years old.
Okay. Who was your musical inspirations?
Well, in the beginning it was my granny. She used to always play the piano here, and I would sing. It was this one song that we always loved singing. She used to sing it to us when we were like trying to put us to sleep. It's called Polish Flowers. I then actually made a song called Polish Flowers, influenced by that song that she was singing. So yeah, she was my first influence. Even though she was also the one saying, no, you need to be a doctor or something like that. But she would still like. I think she's seen in me that I was enjoying like singing and performing in front of like my family and friends. I think she's seen that in me, and she kind of just she wouldn't stop it. She wouldn't say don't do it, because she was a painter. She painted, so that was like I think she understood it's kind of like something that you have to do, like a release. Like you like if that's where your heart tells you to go, you have to do it. So yeah, she was my biggest inspiration, I think, from that.
So, when did you actually start taking it seriously? You obviously started, probably I can imagine you at the tender age of 5, singing all around the house, singing to anybody that would probably listen. When did you start considering that this is what I want? This is what I want to be.
Very young as well, but I guess I started like really thinking about it like very serious when and kind of making a plan for it when I was in high school. And you know, I always said that I was going to be a singer. Like I've always said that I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do that. And you know, it was like it got very serious when I moved to UK.
Okay, so let's fast forward then. You know, it sounds like you had a good upbringing. You had a musical interest from the age of 5. You have a loving family who maybe initially weren't sure about your career choice, but then they came on board, and they certainly are your big, you know, from what I've seen, are your biggest fans. So what age were you when you decided I'm going to move to Scotland?
I was 17.
Okay.
17, and I moved when I was 18.
Now tell your mum and dad. Well, your dad speaks a little bit. Your mum speaks no English. You speak very good English, as do your brothers. So your mum, you told me when she was growing up, was taught German at school.
German and Russian. No,
Okay.
Russian. She was taught Russian. She studied German like not long ago.
Okay. But you were taught English.
Well, that was another one of my like things that I was, you know, I kind of just figured out if I want to be a singer and want to do anything with it, I have to learn English. And I just said to my mum, and by that point, I studied German for like 6 years, 5-6 years. I was moving to I was going up to secondary school, and I just said to my mum, from now I don't want to learn any more German, and I'm going to do just English. And my mum was just like, what? But she couldn't really say no to that, because I was like, I've applied for everything. By that time I've already applied for everything. I've applied for the school, I've applied for the specific class, and I was going.
Yeah, I can echo that as well. Like, you don't normally say to me, do you think I should do this, or do you think I should do it? You normally just say, oh, by the way, I'm doing this, and that's this is what's happening. I've booked it, and it's done. And I'm like, okay. So you know, I know where you're coming from there. So 17 years old. By now you've learned English reasonably well, and you decide that you're going to take the plunge, and you moved over to lovely Edinburgh in Scotland. Pains me to say that a little bit, being a Glaswegian, but you know, I'm you know, beautiful city, lots going for it. And how was that as a 17-year-old leaving home?
Well, I was 18, because 17 was when I decided that I'm going to go. But then it took a year of finishing my high school and everything, and moving to Scotland. And yeah, I was a big change. You know, you like all of a sudden you just realize, oh wait, I need to buy toothpaste. Your mom used to always do that for you, so you don't like you actually just like. And I lived with my brother, and my brother was kind of like just left me to myself. Like, even though he helped me move in, he was like kind of just thinking, you need to learn how to be an adult very quick, because I can't be bothered like teaching you. So
I can imagine your brother saying that.
So
well, how long had he been in Scotland by this point?
By that point, he would have been like there for 5 years or something.
That's probably quite a good thing though, because he was familiar with the place. So at least it gave you a little bit of knowledge of the place, what to do, what not to do, you know, how to go about things. Did you feel a massive change in culture when you went over there?
Oh yes. Well, you know how I studied English for all these years, when I came to Scotland, everyone sounded to me like pirates. Like there was the English was completely like I was on.
I've never heard that one before. Never knew Scottish people sounded like pirates,
No,
but yeah.
because it's like I captain, like you know.
Okay, okay,
and
aye, this, aye, that, aye, this.
and then,
Okay, okay.
So to me that was full of pirates, and I was like, what? I can't, like, I don't know English. I don't actually understand.
We speak a different language. We speak Scottish.
Yeah. Well, see that's probably.
What did you feel the first time you were in Edinburgh and somebody said to you, Ken? Did you think it was Ken and Barbie or something like that?
Yeah, like I was like a lot of the time. So I would go straight into work, and I was like, because I came up like right after finishing my last exams here, and I came and I started working straight away, and there was people like talking to me, and I was just like, you need to talk really slow to me, like, because I cannot understand what you're saying, not even one bit. So yeah, it was interesting, but I guess because I went to like to study.
So yeah, did you apply for Edinburgh Uni before you left Poland?
I've applied to well, not actually. No, I've applied one, and it wasn't the uni. I've applied for college once I got there.
Okay.
And then it basically when I got there, I did like the interview and all these things to kind of just like so they can see where I'm at.
So tell us about that. Tell us about that process. Do you get tested, don't you, when you come to the UK?
Well, first of all, it's because obviously I was Polish. Like they needed to kind of test my my language ability, which is very poor. And they then decide what course they put you on. So I was like, I went to do that. Like, I had to do like an extra year basically to be able to pick up the language, which I'm actually really grateful for, because I was thrown into a class full of there was no Polish person, not a single Polish person there.
Was it predominantly Scottish people?
Yeah, so I learned English very fast from that, which I'm glad that it happened this way, because it helped me with the language a lot.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel.
So you're now in lovely Scotland. You know, you've been through the early stages of that transition, and now you've been accepted to go to university to study music. Talk to me about early stages of university and what it was like, what the people were like, what challenges did you face, what did you enjoy, what did you not enjoy?
Well, like I said, I was the only Polish girl in my course. So I did face a bit of like racism, but like I would call it maybe a casual racism, people making jokes and like trying to laugh it off, just
What kind of jokes?
like actually there is one friend of mine who just randomly said to me, "You must have been called you like no." He said, "Has anyone ever called you a Polish B word?" And I'm like, "What?" Like you must have been called a Polish B, and I'm like, but why?
Just slapped them one.
No, but you know what? It was like he was so sure that I must have got a lot of racism towards me that someone must have called me that before. Like, it was like so normal. Like, that's just a norm. Like, I should have faced the racism. Like, that's just what should have happened. There was a lot of like different jokes. You know, I can't even remember that many. Like, I don't. Another thing is that I don't really. I was kind of oblivious to all that because Poland is. You know, people say that it's a racist country, but it's just like a country that doesn't have much diversity in it.
Yeah, I've
So,
noticed that while I'm over
yeah.
here. I stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, so you know, media and the way that media works, you know, it's really bad. Like, you get racism in media all the time, and sometimes I listen to TV at my granny's, and I'm like, that is so racist. That would never, like, no one could ever say that in UK on television. But in Poland, it's like, it's just, you know, normal.
Mhm.
And you know, people say things like even my parents, they just say like such like completely racist things, and they don't see it as, like, they don't understand that it is racism because they don't have anything to compare it to, you understand? So when I was getting racism towards me, I was completely oblivious to it because I was like, in my head, no one could ever be racist to me because, like, back in Poland, I wasn't getting that, so I didn't know what racism was. But I was taught that, you know, I was taught what racism is here by, you know, experiencing it on myself. And it's quite funny because, you know, I had a Fijian person on my course, I had a Spanish person on my course, and I was Polish, right? And I was getting the most silly jokes out of all three of us. If anything was said to the Fijian guy, oh my god, all hell,
You don't.
all hell gets loose.
I wouldn't
You
want-
do not make jokes about, you know,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it's a different color of skin. Not a chance. And I wouldn't, I don't agree with that. And you know, jokes are jokes. But you know, I also had to learn that those jokes are not okay. They're not okay. Then actually my Spanish friend mentioned to me, you know, out of all three of us, you are the one getting the most abuse, just casual racism towards you. You know, he was Spanish, so he might have got like Spanish this or Spanish that, but Polish would be, the fact that I'm Polish would be brought up on a daily basis, you know. And again, I'm Polish and I'm proud of it. So I'm not it wasn't at first it wasn't an issue, but over time, you know, when someone repeats the same kind of joke over and over again, you kind of starting to realize, is there an issue there? Like, is there an issue with the fact that I'm Polish? So yeah, I started feeling it, you know, like, so I was taught by that, I was taught racism, you know. So, but you know, it's not even.
Look, if we look, I come from a mixed background. My mum is Scottish, my dad's Pakistani. So I grew up in Glasgow. I had a lot of primary school fights and some stupid things here and there where you would be called a Paki. Quite often, my father would be called a curry muncher. You know, and you would just kind of get in a fight, and you know that. But that wasn't, looking back on it now, that's not the way to deal with it. I think we all need to be educated a little bit more. I think since when you came over, there will be a lot more Polish people. I mean, you go to Tesco's now, and you've got a Polish range. You know, Pakistanis and Indians have had a range in these stores for a while, but to see that shows how many Polish people are now in the UK. So do you think overall, did you find Scotland quite welcoming?
Yeah, yeah. Like again, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say a bad word about Scotland. Nor I would say a bad word about Poland. There's obviously some advantages and disadvantages that I came across in both countries.
Mm-hmm.
But I love both countries, you know, I love both Scotland and Poland.
Mhm.
So yeah, and the people in Scotland, they are a nice bunch, you know.
Yeah.
I like Scottish people. And it's like it's just getting.
I'd like to think so. You're married.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's married. She's married to a Scotsman.
You know, like it's getting used to, you know,
Mhm.
the different type of people, different culture, different everything, and I got used to it, and I actually quite like it. When I'm in Scotland, I'm like very much, you know, even the whole Brexit, you know, all of that, you know,
That must have been quite
Scotland
hurtful.
becoming
Brexit coming up must have been quite hurtful.
yeah, well, a lot of changed after that. People would just randomly, like for example, if I was out with my friends, someone would randomly come up to me and say, "Why don't you just go back to your own country?" And I'm like, "Okay." It made it okay to be racist, you know.
Mhm.
Brexit, it's like
Yeah, no, I agree.
the
agree.
racist
Now you're
can
seeing-
come out
yeah,
and play, you
yeah,
know. It's
yeah.
like, oh yes, this is our time. You know,
Mhm.
we can just be horrible
Now you're
people,
seeing so much of it on
and but
social media.
we can be open about being so horrible,
Mhm.
and it seems to be okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Obviously, I'm wearing the Black Lives Matter logo,
Mhm.
and that's been a massive thing in recent times, and you know it's unacceptable what's been going on, especially
Yeah.
in America, with George Floyd and you know sadly being murdered at the hands of the police. But it's great to see how people have come together as well. It's not
Mhm.
all bad. I would say this. I'm happy to say this on record that I find Scotland to be more of a welcoming country to diversity and different cultures. I actually play in a football team. It's called Diversity.
Mhm.
We've got a bit of everything in there. I'll say this as well. I find England, when I've been down in England playing cricket, etc., I've found there to be a lot more racism.
Yeah, I heard
Uh,
that as well.
And maybe another fact why Scotland are pushing for independence, because I don't believe that's what the message is in Scotland. I don't believe
Mhm.
overall that's what people are like. I certainly have lived my whole life in Scotland. I love Scotland. I played for my country. I'm proud of being Scottish, and I would say more often than not I meet nice people, but occasionally you do get, you know, casual racism, and it's sad to hear that you face some of that. But what about some of the positives? Did you make good friends when you started
Oh
university?
yeah, well, yeah, of course. Again, I had a bit of, I would say, hard time. Well, not really, because to be honest, like again, even if I maybe was a bit left out or whatever because I'm Polish, to be honest, I didn't really care that much because I'm not the type of person to.
Follow the crowd.
But yeah, like I wouldn't just be like trying to so hard to like get your attention or whatever.
Mhm.
So no, I wasn't really that bothered. But yeah, it was a bit hurtful sometimes. But again, I have a lot of Scottish friends that are just lovely people, like people from uni, people from work, and it's not just people from directly Scottish background, but people from you know different backgrounds from different places in the world. So it's like overall, I would say the people are. It's easier to get along with Scottish people than it is with Polish people for me. Because
I would agree. I would agree.
well, for you for you even more so, but for me, it's because Polish people, like, there's
They're quite dry. Can be quite dry.
and
They don't mean to be, but they can come across quite dry.
I have that problem, and I had that problem from the very beginning. I could just say something that just comes to my mind, and I didn't even think about what I was saying, but I would say it out loud, and it would be like, whoa, why the hell? Like,
Yeah,
it's,
straight. You're very
Yeah.
straight talking people.
and
If you don't like my T-shirt, for instance, you'll just tell me you don't like my T-shirt. A Scottish person would probably tiptoe around it.
yeah, maybe
But
try.
I like that. But I like that part of you. I like that about your brother and father as well. They're really just straight talking. I like straight
Very-
talking.
Polish people are very honest, very loyal people as well. Very mosquitoes everywhere.
I'm used to it.
Very, very, very straight talking, yes, but also generous, I think.
Hard working.
Hard working, and then you have Scottish people who are very similar.
Yeah,
Like,
in some-
there is a lot
in
of
some ways-
similar-
in some ways.
similarities.
Some
Yeah.
ways you're absolutely right. Scottish people can be quite straight talking as well. But I think it's just when I first, we'll get onto that. But when I first met you, sometimes I just didn't know what you were thinking. You just wouldn't say anything, and I would be like, "Have I said something?" Or and then I would ask you, and you would just say, "No, I'm absolutely fine." So I think it's just
We don't do
but
small talk.
you
that's
don't
what
do
it is.
small talk, and
We
I
do
love small
not-
talk.
Yeah, oh yeah, you absolutely love it. It's like every person in my family would just say, does he ever stop talking like?
Just as well, a lot of them can't understand me.
And I'm like, no, he does not. he just continues to talk about everything and nothing at the same time, and we don't do that. So that's the one thing that I really struggle with, the small talk, like, hi, how are you? Yeah, oh my god, look at the lovely weather.
Oh, the weather. We love
Oh,
talking about the weather.
The weather, yeah, and then like, even though you initially say that you always have to say that's another difference between Polish and Scottish. You always say, oh, I'm great, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm alright. But maybe then later in the deeper conversation
You find out that maybe they're not
maybe
everything's
not.
alright.
Whereas in Polish people would just say straight, oh, this is horrible, like this happened, and you just like delay and all of the problems onto you like straight away, and you're just standing there like, whoa, mate, what is this? So yeah, that's another difference, but it's it's actually quite funny this one. But yeah, I think Scottish people are great, and I love Scotland. It's so different, like the even the green, like they've got leaves and all that. Here it's like not as deep, but in Scotland the forests and everything is just such a deep green. It's a beautiful country, and I'm glad that I can always go back there, and I have somewhere to stay. So yeah.
So university wise, how was it studying music?
It was great.
What's your passion? So it must have been easy for you
it was
to get out of bed.
Yeah, it was lovely. Like, I don't know if you ever think about it this way, but when I was at uni, and every day I would wake up and I think, if I was to die today, I would die happy because I'm doing what I love doing. So that thought just makes you it makes your day
Pass by
amazing,
well.
amazing.
Yep.
So that's why I continue to try like singing, and because I'm doing what I love doing. So if I was to die today, I'll be happy to die because I died doing what I love doing. So that's kind of.
So how many years university?
4.
4 years.
4.
Passed all your years then. Smart girl. during that time, did you work? Did you do any other things?
Oh yes, yeah, of course, yeah. I had to. At some point, I had like 4 different jobs all at the same time and studying on top of it.
4 different jobs.
Yeah, well, you
I
have
struggle
to.
doing one job at a time.
Yeah, but because there is so much more opportunities in Scotland, you want to be able to, have money and do a lot of things,
Mhm.
because you are able to do them.
Mhm.
But a lot of these things are obviously cost.
Mhm.
But the fact that you're able to get this, or you're able to do this, or you're able to go there, that's like,
A motivator.
wow, I can do so much with my life right now,
Mhm.
So it's.
What were the 4 jobs that you did at one time?
I was a waitress. I was a promo girl. I was bartender, I think, and then I worked in a cafe as well.
Okay. Wide range of
Yeah.
jobs.
All hospitality, of
And you were
course.
studying at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that?
You know, Polish people again are hardworking, so they can do a lot.
So 4 jobs, studying. Did you manage to sleep?
No, because why would you want to sleep if you can meet your friends and
Because you might be tired.
but when you're 20 years old, you don't really have time to sleep. Why?
I had plenty of time to sleep when I was 20. Let me tell you.
You want to do things. Honestly, I would I loved spending time with my friends and going out to see different places. Just doing stuff that.
So was that mostly with your uni friends?
Mm, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We had some amazing times together.
So do you feel that you made the right choice coming to Edinburgh to study?
Oh yes, yes. Well, first of all, if I was to go to England, I still, I was still able to get things like help, from, even though I wasn't from there, I was still
Mhm.
able to get things like that. Which again, my parents would never be able to pay for my education in UK,
Mhm.
and nor did they want it to, because obviously,
Yeah, it's expensive.
it's extortion. So for them, so I had to just provide for everything myself.
Mhm.
I had to
So
just get
paying for your accommodation, paying
accommodation.
for having the chance to go and see different things and do different things, as well as study. You work
Yeah.
4 different jobs. So to everybody out there, me included, I had a lot of support from my parents, travelling to the other side of the world and whatnot, playing cricket. If it wasn't for my mother and father, I would have struggled to be able to do a lot of that, and I was not prepared to work
So
4 different jobs. So it's a message for everybody out there, really, that if you want something, you need to work really hard for it.
the just and it's not even that. I had friends who moved out of their parents' houses, but obviously their parents could still help them here and there.
Mhm.
Sending some extra money or whatever.
Mhm.
That could never happen. Not a chance.
Mhm.
If my mom could send me some money, it would be maybe £20 every 2 months.
Just like when you really need it, when you really need
I was
it.
sent to Scotland with £20 in my pocket. That's how much I had to me. And it's like I just had to work with it,
Mhm.
and it was there's been so many times when I was listening to my friends for meaning moaning about not having money, and I'm like, make you either live with your parents or you get some cash from your parents here and there.
Mhm.
Here, all you really have to pay for is maybe like your accommodation,
Mhm.
which I'm not gonna say is cheap because it's not.
Mhm.
Like especially in Edinburgh, it's quite expensive.
Mhm.
But like don't mourn about it
Yeah,
because honestly, like you don't know anything.
Yeah,
Like
you don't know how hard it. You don't know how hard it
you
can
don't know
be.
anything. Like and you know, and, but a lot of the times that's like it's your journey. You will learn. You will learn sooner or later that you know.
I certainly did. Took me, it wasn't until my mid to my late 20s that I started dealing with financial responsibility a little bit better. I still wasn't far from the finished article. Bank of dad and mum would still get asked upon here and there. So, I've got a lot of respect for you for being able to do that, because being from another country and having to basically survive and fend for your own from the age of 18 years old onwards, I think it stands you in good stead, and it would be good for you to teach our daughter about the values and how important being hardworking is if you want to chase your dreams. I guess my next question for you is, you finish Edinburgh Uni, very proud moment. Did mum and dad come over for that?
Yeah, my mom actually came for my last year when I was preparing for like all these different exams, and I also had this big gig coming up and liquid drinks in Edinburgh, and my mom came over to just to kind of like cook for me and stuff because I had no time to. And the last year, like of uni, I did 2 years in 1 year because I was you can't say it like that, but basically I was going to get an honors degree. So my mom my mom came over, and by that point I was so stressed that my hair like was just falling out. I would like go with my hand like through my hair, and I have like a handful of hair in my hands because I was so stressed, severely stressed, that I was like, getting all these. I was living off Red Bull and things like that, so I really did need my mom at that point to kind of help me with basic living. But yeah, I managed to do it somehow.
So tell me what you finished university with.
I finished it with the oh my goodness, it's the second degree. I don't know how because it's English. How it would be in Scottish. I don't even know how.
See what it was.
Second degree, second degree something. I can't remember.
You mentioned honours.
Yeah, an honors degree. Yeah, honors degree. Yeah.
Okay. So proud moment for you. All that hard work paid off. Did you feel satisfied? Did you ever doubt that you were going to be able to complete it?
Oh yes, many times. Especially the last year, many times during the last year, and right after my uni finished, literally last exam, I had to pack all my bags just before the last exam because I was going to work as a singer in Greece.
Alright, okay.
Like next morning.
Yeah, after your exam?
Yeah. So you know how all my friends were like celebrating that we finished everything. I celebrated as well, but then I had to jump straight on the plane.
So that's interesting. So we get to that part about things now. So you went to university, faced some challenges, you worked really hard to get to where you wanted to. You got your degree, your honours, and then you obviously were at that point where you're ready to pursue your career in music. So you went off to Greece. What were you doing there?
I was what do you call it? Basically like one of the singers performing in like music
Venue.
venue, but it was like it is nothing like a live music venue in Scotland. It was like a proper big stage with like lighting and smoke machines and wireless mics and everything.
Yeah, it's a real deal then.
Yeah, it was a real deal, and I was you know, but then again I was like I was kind of sad that I'm leaving all my friends behind, and but then at the same time like this is amazing. Like straight after uni, I'm going into work in my in my profession,
yeah.
So it was good in some ways.
So tell me a bit more about your music. What type of music you sing?
I do, and it took me some time to get to realize what I do. I do a bit of R&B, I'd say pop, and jazz.
Yeah, you love your jazz music, right?
Yeah, I love my jazz music. Yeah, so it's like a mixture of these genres, I would say.
How many people would you be performing in front of when you were in Greece?
Let's see, 3,000.
Wow. How's that? How is the pressures of all eyes on you?
It's kind of hard because like the Greek people again. It is another country I have no knowledge of, and you kind of just have to like entertain them.
Yeah.
It was very glamorous job as well. Like doing hair and makeup, getting your hair and makeup done every day, like before work. Practicing with the bands. It was very glamorous. So
living the dream then.
yeah. And I lived in like an amazing accommodation. It was great.
Did you make good money?
Yeah.
Made good money?
Probably out of all my jobs that I did, the money that I made from making music was the best money.
How long did you stay in Greece?
Half a year. Yeah, half a year. There, I was maybe even less than that, but I was gonna stay, I think a year or something. But I didn't really. In the end of the day, there was few different things that came up, and I didn't really like it. And I didn't like it because, again, I don't really like singing covers.
Prefer to do your own thing?
Prefer to do my own thing. Even though I do sing covers, but I'd rather if I'm singing covers, I'd rather do covers that I want to do, not that someone else tells me. And and just that feeling of being like entertainment monkey, I don't like that.
Sometimes not treated with the greatest of respect.
Not even that. It's just, what's the point? Like, where's the creativity? And
But it gave you the experience of singing in front of large crowds, kind of getting all that professionalism. That was a positive about it. What did you think of Greek people?
No. There's been some great people and some not so great people. There's I had an incident with one of the guys that was also a singer. I didn't like the way he treated me, and he was basically not a nice person,
Just being sexist.
Yeah, and not very. I just didn't like it. So that kind of ruined my experience. The rest of it, even the good and the bad, just all that.
Is that
one
a
thing
reason why you decided to?
to leave? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you saying to me you felt a little bit unsafe out there sometimes.
Yeah. Very, very much.
So, as a young girl on your own.
Yeah, because the thing like doing jobs like this, you never have like the security of getting paid like 100% getting paid, you know? Like,
People moving the
you,
goalposts.
yeah, like you're basically out of your comfort zone completely. You're living on their terms.
Mhm.
They provide you with everything,
Mhm.
so you're kind of like left, like.
So it's not like in Scotland if you're doing a job, you know, on the 30th of the month you're definitely going to get your money. Things
No.
could be a little bit
Yeah.
unsure.
Yeah, because I don't live there. I don't have anyone there. I come to a completely strange person,
Mhm.
strange country.
Mhm.
I could get paid. I could not get paid. Depends on whether they.
Well, that's not really healthy for anybody, I think.
Yeah, and I had the situation where a guy didn't like. I wanted to leave, and the guy didn't want to pay me, but because my agent was good friends with him, and my agent was gonna get paid. If I'm gonna get paid, that's why I got paid, you
Mhm.
know. So I made sure I'm getting paid, and I was like, I'm not gonna just leave you until you pay me because I didn't come here to just pay, not get paid, you know.
Mhm.
It's not cool.
Yeah.
In a night when she's alone, she cries when karma comes to make sure that when it rains, it
You've arrived back in lovely Edinburgh
Mhm.
after your time in Greece. So tell me, what were you doing with yourself when you came back to Edinburgh?
I started working in different jobs related to music. Just anything related to music, really. So, event management. I was a promotional manager. I was gigging a lot, and yeah, I was doing a lot of work in my profession in Edinburgh, which I really enjoyed because obviously that's like kind of the dream.
Yeah.
You're back basically at home,
Mhm.
and you're doing what you want, without having to go somewhere abroad.
Mhm.
You get to do what you want to do.
Mhm.
So it was.
Do you think the experience of singing in Greece helped you then performing in Edinburgh?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. It gave me a different perspective on things, so it was quite good.
Okay. So what's the biggest things you've done like Edinburgh-wise singing?
I did Edinburgh Fringe.
Which is a huge
Yeah, I
festival in
did.
Edinburgh, a yearly festival.
Yeah, I did a lot of gigs during that. I did a gig for BBC during Edinburgh Festival. Then I did my biggest achievement, the one that I still can't believe that I did it, is that I supported Sister Sledge when they played in Corn Exchange in Edinburgh.
Wow.
Just after one of the sisters died.
Was that quite recently? Recent?
So that was in 2018, I think.
Okay.
Not that long ago.
So what was that experience like?
Well, Corn Exchange again is a big venue, so it was like it was crazy. I was really nervous, but I also was so excited for it because obviously like I love funk, disco, soul, like anything like that. I just love that kind of music. So to be able to support for such big legends was like.
What kind of crowds were you playing to there?
I think it was like 3,000, 5,000.
So that's the biggest, that would imagine
Yeah.
the biggest crowd you performed for. And what did you perform?
I perform my original songs, yeah.
Okay.
I perform my original songs on that. I tried to, even if I was performing some covers, I would still try to incorporate my original music.
So just tell us a little bit more about that. You write as well, don't you?
I write and I do a bit of production as well. But yeah, I try. I was very independent. I've always been very independent. I like to do everything myself. But so soon I realized that it's not. It takes so much time.
Mhm.
So you need to work with other people because you spend so much time doing things that someone else could be doing,
Mhm.
unless you have a very clear vision and nobody else is getting your vision. And
Yeah.
for
So.
example, if you want to work with people who also want to be independent and you want to work with them on the basis that you don't pay them, it's like, you know, you kind of promoting them, they're promoting you.
Yeah.
You can't tell these people this is exactly what I want.
Mhm.
They, because they're doing it for free, you both need to have some input towards the finishing
Article. Yeah.
article. So the finished product. So you have to be open to suggestions and ideas. I can struggle with that sometimes because I really like if I have a vision of something and it's usually a vision that's from the beginning till the end and it's like very clear what I want,
Mhm.
then I will struggle to kind of incorporate different ideas in that.
Did you think that's something you've evolved on?
Yeah,
Because being an
but
artist, I'd imagine you need to learn to.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
learn to work with people.
you know, it was good for me to learn that because it is something that I few times there was a few different times when I realized, oh my god, this is even better than I imagined it.
Mhm.
You know, so some of the ideas when people would bring the ideas to the table, sometimes these things would be like just amazing, and I wouldn't even be able to imagine it that way. So yeah, it just depends, obviously, what you want,
Mhm.
and if you're open to ideas, there's a lot of room to
But you
go
can always put
someplace.
your foot down, Kaya, when needs must.
Yeah,
You know, that's you know, you're quite strong. Again, we come back to the fact that you're strong-willed. But I think I've been watching music and artists for years, and they're very, very opinionated people, and they have a vision of what they want, and that's hard to kind of deviate off.
Mhm.
But you learn to work with people. But I mean, it's amazing. I remember when I first met you, and we'll get on to that. And you mentioned that you performed at the Edinburgh Fringe, and for me, growing up in Glasgow, it's a yearly festival. People come from all around the world, so you would have been performing to people from all over, not just Scotland. It goes on for how long?
A month.
A month of
So
just different.
performing every night.
Mhm.
It is a big challenge, that
Mhm.
Fringe. If you perform every night and you like, sometimes I would do more than one gig, even up to 3 gigs
Mhm.
one night.
Mhm.
That is, that's exhausting because through that month, if you're not getting enough sleep, because you wouldn't be getting enough sleep because obviously you're playing, and then you want to go see other people playing as well. So
Mhm.
like you are sleep deprived quite a bit.
Mhm.
But you still have to get on that stage and look like glamorous and
Mhm.
give your best. So it is a
I'd imagine because you're so passionate about it, and that's your
Mhm.
thing, that it kept you going. A couple of cans of Red Bull here and there.
I left off Red Bull again.
That's not good.
It's
That's
not good. Coffee and Red Bull, yeah.
Mhm.
But it did give me like a real insight of like how, if I was to do it full time,
Mhm.
singing full time,
Mhm.
this is how this would look like.
Mhm.
I would
Very fast paced,
yeah,
travelling,
yeah,
jumping from city to
Yeah.
city.
yeah. That's how it would be,
Mhm.
So
You've got to respect what the artists do.
yeah.
You know, it's not all it's cracked up to be,
Mhm.
and you have to work. You hear it quite often actually when you hear some of the biggest stars. They never really had much of a life.
Mm.
Is that
No.
something? Is that something that is something is still important to you? How would you feel if you did become a worldwide star and you didn't really have time for
See,
family, friends, or even just normality in life? Do you think you would cope with that?
That is one thing. I'm a big fan of slow living, and zero waste mentality, like all this kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
minimalism. I'm into all of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, this whole like bling bling and all of that, like that, it's not really for me.
Mhm.
So I'd rather you, and there is, like, honestly, music industry is evolving right now. So there there is room for different kind of people there.
Mhm.
I think there will be room for someone like me who wants to live life. Like I take time. I took time to meet you.
Mhm.
I took time to start a family.
Mhm.
I took time to get over some things, get out of depression, things like that.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I'm able to write about this.
Mhm.
And then that is a real life experience. That is real.
Mhm.
It's not. It's not something that I have to do to get famous or have to do to be this big singer.
Mhm.
I'm not singing about how many cars I can afford right now, or because I can't afford none right now, but I'm singing about something that real people on the street can relate to, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm not like, I know that there is this big you know, people want to show off their cars and their jewelry, their clothes, to be able to say, oh, I've done this, I've done that. But that's not being rich.
Mhm.
That's not actually, you're not rich by showing off all these things. That's not what you really want.
Mhm.
You want to be rich in heart, in your mind, in memories, and
Mhm.
things like that. Like that's as an artist especially,
Mhm.
you have to have those things, because otherwise, what are you going to write about? Just continuously the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up like in hip hop, R&B, gangster rap, and all that stuff. But you kind of get to the point where it's like, don't get me wrong, some of my favorite artists rap about real life stuff, but a lot of the time it's just women, cars, parties,
Yeah.
and kind of just gets done over and over and over again. So I do think there's a market for people that are different and don't necessarily, like you say, need to be bling bling. You know, your style of music, you know, it's very, I find it very respectable, and you know, um, I don't know how I would have felt if I met a singer, and you know, maybe she was like quite open with her, you know, costumes and stuff like that. I don't know if I would have, you know, I might have been a bit jealous or whatnot, but you're very, you know, you're very simple. You keep it very, you're not big-headed or in your face. I mean, I'm sure that'll be coming across on the camera, that you're very laid back and you're very humble. So, moving forward, you had some tough times in your life. When I met you in particular, we talked about a lot of that stuff. Tell me, when did these tough times start, and what was it related to?
Well, see, after big highs, there usually comes a
To
big
performing
low.
at the Edinburgh Fringe, you know,
Yeah, so I
big
performed,
crowds.
I did all of this, all of that, but then life, like reality, kind of kicked in,
You have to go back and do a
and
normal
then
job.
a lot of things kind of crumbled,
Mhm.
and I found myself in financial difficulties, and I struggled with, well, I was diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, and depression,
Mhm.
uh, which wasn't, like, it wasn't just to do with music. It was stuff that I kind of accumulated in the back of my head, and I never actually released it because I never thought, like like depression was never. I was always strong. Like I've always been a strong person, right?
Mhm.
So if even if a bad thing happened to me, I would be like, I would be able to make sense of it more or less in my head, realize what's happened, and move on
Mhm.
really fast.
Mhm.
And the fact that I moved on really fast, A lot of these things, I actually lost a lot of memories because of doing that.
Mhm.
Because I kind of just erased a lot of things that happened to me in the
Mhm.
past so that I can move on quickly and get back on it, you know?
Mhm. So what kind of stuff will happen to you, Gaia? What were you?
Um,
How were you feel? You know, how were you feeling? What? How
well,
bad was it?
it was, you know, it was your typical lost a job, lost some relationships, there's problems in like, just your typical, but and it's been over the years of like quite a good few years
Mhm.
that I just kind of I was putting it all like stuff in like a
In a
big
box, yeah.
wardrobe of like this.
But they weren't
Yeah,
actually being dealt with.
yeah,
You know,
it
they were
wasn't dealt with.
Yeah.
It was just put away and kind of
building
forget
up.
about it. But and like
all of a
eventually it just kind of hit me when I lost my job
Mhm.
as an event manager, and when that happened, I basically was around people. That was when I was performing a lot, and I was around people that weren't the best for me.
Mhm.
Were only bringing me down.
Mhm.
There's a lot of a lot of false people.
Mhm.
It's also, you know, music scene is never going to
Yeah,
be like
quite very
it's very
very competitive.
and
Somebody always wants to do better than you.
yeah, and
They're not always as happy as you think they are for you.
yeah. They're not all hippies. You just playing guitar and all that. They're not all like that.
Mhm.
So you have to kind of I kind of got like I got into a bad crowd and got myself like my head started spinning. Like I was like doing things, but it almost felt like I wasn't there. I was
Mhm.
just watching myself doing things,
Mhm.
and that is a horrible feeling. Like you're not actually experiencing life.
Mhm.
Your mind is completely shut down.
Mhm.
Like you're doing things, but you're not even like so. Yeah, there's panic attacks, you know, things like that. That I eventually was like, I really need help,
Mhm.
like right now.
Mhm.
Like I need help now,
Mhm.
and that's when I decided that I need to take a break. I got off social media, like closed all my accounts, like basically just wanted to just just kind of like have some time for myself and be able to focus on myself. I started counseling.
Mhm.
I went to Poland for a bit to spend some time with my family. That always helped me.
Mhm.
So eventually I started coming out of it, and
So, but what did you face when you were at the worst times of it? I mean, what kind of not being able to get out of bed?
yeah, that like I said, I was stay in my flat for days. There's no routine. Suicidal thoughts. Um, there was, you know, I became very selfish.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
almost to the point like I didn't let it.
Without meaning to be
Yeah,
selfish.
no, without meaning to be selfish, but it
Mhm.
was so like when I'm looking back at it, that was so selfish. A lot of these things that I was doing, like not getting back to people, not talking to my mom and my dad, not responding to people, not just people were worried,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to be alone.
Mhm.
I had social anxiety. I had, you know, I wanted to just be me, and I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to hear anyone. I can't deal with anything.
Mhm.
At that point, that like at any contact with any other person that was giving me anxiety, I was thinking, do these people literally mean what they're saying? Are they actually being nice because they're nice, or are they just false? Like all these things. Like I couldn't connect with anyone because I kept feeling like there was an agenda. So that was a part of my anxiety, and it's a horrible way of horrible way of feeling because you do feel really lonely, and that was the scariest part of all of this, the loneliness.
Which you do it without even realising.
Yeah.
You just kind of
Separate
isolate yourself from everybody. But brighter times ahead.
What if I see all your pain? I'll never choose to walk away. Don't walk away. Don't walk away. What if my life's filled with joy? 'Cause I don't have that much at all. There's room for it all. The more you own, the more you've got to lose. You've got to lose.
So nearing around probably 2 years ago now, not far off, I took a stroll into a coffee shop called Chapter 1 in Dalry Road in Edinburgh. I was there for a meeting and strolled in. It's kind of a vegan place, you know, everything's vegetarian, most of the stuff's vegetarian. I just came in for a coffee and I had a nice vegan roll as well. And you were, you know, serving me, and I just got this sense from you, you know, it's very warm, this girl, you know, she's got a very nice manner, and I like that, and I you know, I introduced myself, and we had a bit of a conversation, nothing in too depth, and I took the opportunity to ask you if you would like to go for a walk, which was so random. You know, I've never asked anybody to go for just a walk, but you were just finishing up, and we took a walk. I can remember like it was yesterday. We took a walk down Princess Street. We took a stroll all the way up to top, lovely views, and we actually talked about stuff that people probably wouldn't talk about that have known each other for years. You know, I opened up and told you about the challenges of my marriage breakdown, divorce. I hadn't seen my son Harris for quite a long time. I told you about my firstborn son Callum. I told you about a lot of stuff, and you told me about who you were and what you've been through. And sometimes in life people just come together, and it did just kind of click in a very. But tell me about your experience of it.
You know, like to be honest, I was getting, at that point, I was getting happier and happier. You know, I was slowly realizing that, you know, even if anyone thinks the worst, like if anyone out there thinks the worst of you, and they are nice to your face, but in fact think the worst of you.
Which exists everywhere in the world.
Yeah. I wanted to be. I never wanted to be that. So when I met you, and I was nice to you, it's because I wanted to be nice to you. I wanted you to be able to open up to me, and I wanted you to feel that warmness from me, because that's what I want from someone that I meet as well.
Yeah.
Which you gave me as well. And it's true, like, because we are in that sense really similar, we want to be, we don't want to be like nasty to people. We want to be very open to people. We want to help. We have that really, like, we want to care for people. Both have that, like, that strong feeling that we need to, like, help.
Yep.
And it's kind of just, it did click very quickly. I remember when you just grabbed my hand and you just started holding my hand like I was like.
You're gonna get me in trouble for saying. You're gonna get me in trouble for saying that. But
but yeah, I was like, oh, this is no, but it's like just like a first time, first walk, first like first time we've ever met, and you just grabbed my hand and we just walked
Yeah.
hand by hand. So
And I remember in particular, I mean, we just kind of connected on it, but everything just, I mean, a lot of people, friends, family of mine couldn't believe how fast things moved along. But we talked about things quite quickly, like, you know, we wanted to start a family. I mean, I'm getting on a bit, I'm a couple of years older than you. I'm going to be 36 this year, you just turned 28. You know, so we wanted to have a family. You were so supportive. I was coming through come through a bad divorce. I hadn't seen my son, so I was still probably very much deep in depression at that point. You know, I wasn't making very good life choices, and through meeting you, you kind of just inspired me. You showed me care, you showed me love, but we talked about things. It wasn't like we just, oh, we're all right now, I'm fine. It was, we went over things. We talked about life's experiences and different things that we've been through. And that meant a lot to me, and slowly I started really getting a new lease for life and wanting to be able to feel motivated again. And you know, I have good days and I have bad days because I miss my son. But you know, fast forward, and also just to touch on, I'm from Muslim background. I'm Muslim. You're from Catholic Christianity background. My family is very strong in their Muslim beliefs. Your family is very strong in their Christian beliefs. And one of the biggest things, you know, fast forwarding a little bit now, but I asked to marry you quite quickly. We introduced our families. I remember the day that you phoned your mum and dad and said, "Jay, I've met a Muslim guy and I'm going to be getting probably married." And I remember your dad was a bit in shock. Like, you know, the media portrays that, you know, maybe Muslims aren't good people and we don't treat our women well or whatever, which is not true. It's not what we're taught in the Quran. It's not at all. And my family initially was a bit like, oh right, okay, this is a bit left. This is different. But honestly, once it all came together, couldn't have asked for nicer people, i.e. your mother and father. You know, they treat me so well. Your granny, who when I came over here, you know, traditional Polish woman, showed me so much love. You know, you get on with my father very well. You've got a good friendship. And then we decided, we had a very small wedding. We had our nikah done. Which how was that for you? Because you were very understanding to my religious beliefs. Where does that come from? How you know, you're brought up in Christianity. You know, how were you comfortable about that?
Well, why wouldn't I be? Because, like, again, I was with you, and I knew that you wouldn't let anyone harm me or anything, and you don't want to harm me. So why wouldn't I trust you if you are meant to be my husband? Like, it's nikah, like, it's like just what we had to do, and it didn't make much difference to any other, you know, any other way we would do it, you know. I don't see why I would. I mean, I was more worried about my mom and my dad. Like, you know, Polish weddings are completely different. You sing, you drink. The wedding lasts 3 days.
So do Asian weddings normally, but we had quite a small intimate affair. But yeah, continue.
So, you know, like, in our culture, it is like you have to make a toast for the newlywed couple. Like that's
as for most of my Scottish
tradition.
friends.
Like, if you don't have it, they might, like, it's just, you know, it's just a stupid tradition. But basically, you know, I was worried, and there was this one thing that that was so funny when your mom asked my dad to set, like, we were to set women and men separately, and my dad was to sit away from my mom, and he was like, I don't want to sit. I was like, no.
Did we not end up sitting him? He sat like at the edge of the bedside, didn't he? And then it was it.
And I was just like, that?
I mean, my family are not like over the top with it. We'll go. We will sit at a restaurant, but I think what my mum's mentality was that all the women will be comfortable together and the men will be comfortable together. But yeah, I remember it was quite funny. Your dad, we had to end up placing him next to your mum, which then started the line of the women from that point downwards. And it was a nice intimate affair, and you know, we had the Macau done, very simple. You couldn't believe how quickly we were just.
Yeah, that was very.
Yeah, mum came, he did our Macau, and it was like, bam, bam, right, okay, we're married now, congratulations, wife. And then we had a nice meal. We actually came to Poland. We actually decided to come to Poland.
Yeah.
To visit your family and me experience the country and the culture, and I really enjoyed it. It's a lovely spot your mum and dad have got here. Out the back here, your mum grows tomatoes, apples, everything all fresh. Even watermelons. So it's been such a, you know, I always leave here really healthy because I'm eating so well. But yeah, then things just fast forwarded, and you know we fell pregnant quite quickly. Then that was really I mean, people normally, that was a real challenge to be going through a pregnancy and being quite newlywed, and we hadn't known each other that long. Obviously, in my culture, you know, you're not really meant to date. So and plus we clicked very quickly. But we had a 9-month pregnancy where we were pretty much just together, and you know, we surprised each other quite a lot.
Yeah, well, we've gone through a lot together. We've gone through moving a house, just like lots of things that would challenge your relationship. And a lot, like, because we've gone through so much, and we work so well together, we're such a good team that we always complement each other, like, in so many different ways. Like, if I overlook something, you will look into it and you'll get that done. So it's the other way, it's vice versa. So it's like, it just works so well. And yeah, I am very surprised that it's just a thought, like, again, because we have that love, it's easy, you know. We're gonna make it work because we'd always got each other's back, and we were always thinking about each other when we were doing stuff. 9 months later, we were blessed with a beautiful little girl who's now coming on near 8 months now, who we named Eva Jadwiga Sheikh. She's our little bundle of joy. She is hard work. She keeps us up most nights, and she's been a real strain in our relationship because we went into lockdown. Now, just before we get into that, I want to talk about something in particular. Ramadan. Ramadan came, your first experience of properly, you know, being part of Ramadan. I hadn't kept my 30 fast for, I'm honest to say, quite a long time due to cricket commitments and stuff. But due to the fact that we had gone into lockdown, I was determined. And I managed to do it, but there is no way I would have been able to keep all 30 if it wasn't for you. You know, you cooked for me in the morning for my sari. You cooked for me for amazing iftari meals that you made for me. You even started realising the prayer timetable and would remind me, it's your prayer time now, you should really go and pray. And for me, I will never ever forget that. I will for as long, you know, and I look forward to future Ramadans with you, where you probably said you would have joined in, but you weren't obviously able to fast. But I will never forget that. I just think it was amazing that you showed me so much care and love during that month, holy month, and it helped me so much. And that you know, I want to thank you for that. No problem. You know, I could see that it was something that you needed at that point in your life. You needed something to, let's say, some sort of like kickstart, and you needed to.
I was in a bit of a rut. Let's be honest. I was still kind of
coming out of a lot of things, like getting over, like, and I fully understand that because I've been there and I've done that. So I know that sometimes you just need a bit of motivation, and that was going to be your motivation. And then you find the podcast, and then all of that started, you know, and I saw the real passion and motivation in you, and that I've not seen ever, you know, ever before.
Yeah, because you didn't know me in my know me in my cricket playing days when I was playing high level, and it's pretty similar to what you talk about. You're performing on such a big stage. I was playing in World Cups and was playing for my country, and then when all of that goes, it's so difficult to transition. You know, I'd done jobs and done business development jobs and did quite well in different areas, but having that joy of playing doing your passion, and I think we've both found our passions because you continue to record. Kaya has a YouTube channel called Kaya Music. Please do subscribe and check it out. She's got some great songs on there. And I noticed that when you record a song, if I take Ava for a walk and you record a song and I come back, you're always instantly feeling much more positive. And this podcast has done the same thing for me. But it's been a joint story. You know, it really has been, and that's why I wanted to get you on the show, because I was just sitting and I was thinking, I really love to talk to your story because you're a big part of it. So I want to just reiterate and say thank you to you for everything, and thank you for being so understanding and supportive. You've certainly perked me up in life. I'd hope I've done the same for you. And you know, it's you know what in regards to the future, you're now looking at other avenues as well. You're currently doing the financial advisor course, which you're quite deep into, which has been tough. I've had to look after Ava full time, which was a major eye opener for me, but it was also a character building for me.
But I'm so proud of you for doing that as well, because the background that you come from.
The men are designed to go out and work, and the women look after the kids.
I like, and it's been a struggle because a lot of times you wouldn't understand why I'm asking you to do certain things, but I am such a big feminist.
Oh.
And it's.
You soon straighten me out, put it that way. I mean, I kind of rebelled against it. I mean, I would do something with Ava, change a nappy, and then say, right, I've done my bit, I'm off.
But I'm such a fair person, and I'm not. It's not about being a feminist or whatever. It's just being fair. I'm gonna be fair to you if you're gonna be fair to me, and that is it. That is all. That there's nothing else.
Yeah, your dreams and what you want to do are just as important as what I want to do. And I was kind of a bit self-centered in that front, where I would think, right, I'm going. And that was something that you just got really, you were like, how can you just go and do something without telling me or planning it? You know, I can't just get up and leave the baby and go. And it took me a bit of time. I would be a bit like, oh, come on, you've just been a bit of a nightmare, come on, let me go. And you would never stop me from going, but I learned that, right, penny dropped. You're just as important as I am. Your dreams are just as important as I am. You want to be just as happy as I feel. You know, we found that common ground. So I just want to say to everybody, thank you first of all to my lovely wife, Kaya, for coming on the show. I just want to say to people, you know, when there's this thing that doesn't really seem to exist that much around anymore called true love. And if you do truly love somebody, and you will always find a way. You will always find a way.
Yeah, people they tend to believe that there's an agenda behind things rather than believe that there's.
Well, the most recent one is I got somebody saying to me that, somebody said that you're bringing up somebody else's kid, and I asked, wow. I came home, I was like, what the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
You know, my daughter comes from different mixes, but even if I was bringing up somebody else's child, nothing wrong with that either, but people can be very judgmental, and that's something that I'm sure we'll face a little bit more of moving forward. But I hope through this podcast that we've recorded today that people can see that we are a good dream team. We're excited about the future. We're excited to watch our daughter grow. You know, I pray every day that I see my son again, and I know you're very supportive, and you hope to meet Harris one day.
Yeah.
We recently met my oldest son, Callum, which was a lovely experience. You treated him with a lot of love. I will forever be grateful for that. And yeah, just thank you for everything. And I do love you very much.
I love you too.
So please, thank you for listening. You can follow and subscribe to Kaya's channel on YouTube, Kaya Music. And thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Take the risk.
Oh my god, Kassam, you're
Baby,
honestly
you're,
so annoying.
no, you are like, I plugged everything in, everything's ready.